In this video, we will continue with the application where we start to just create the layout file for the next activity. We will basically click an item in the list view, which is a contact, and it takes it to a new activity where we will be able to call or to send an email or to edit this specific contact or maybe to delete the contact. So now for this to happen, we need a new activity. So we're going to go to new activity, empty activity, and we're going to call this activity contact info. Right, and we're going to say finish there, and this will be the contact info activity. So there's a little bit of work that we need to do for this XML file. So when it's done, we will start designing the layout. So let's go into activity contact info. You can see it looks like this. And because we will be able to update or delete a contact from backendless, we also need that same layout. So I'm going to quickly go to, I think the easiest one to get to now will be contact list. So let's go to the contact list layout file. And then I'm just going to copy this whole layout. Copy the whole layout and place it into contact info. Paste it there. Now basically all that we do not want here is the text view and the list view. So let's just remove the text view and the list view. We can also set the context there not to main activity but to contact info. And if you go to design, it will look like this. Right, so we are done with a blank layout that will have the login progress bar as well as the load text view. Right, so let's close down contact list totally. So we're only left with this new activity. So the first thing that I want to do is to drag in a normal text view. So I'm going to drag in the text view there inside of the linear layout. I'm going to make that text view's style bold, and I want to set the size as, let's make it 30. In fact, I think let's even make the text size a bit bigger. Let's go to 48. Okay, so I'm going to click on that text view. And I'm going to set the character again as an A, and then I'm going to have the width to wrap the content, and then let's go to the layout gravity, and we set the layout gravity to center horizontal. So we have it in the middle of the screen, and we'll set let's say TV char again, and then the layout margin from the top, let's make it 10 from the top. Now let's drag in another text view there just underneath that one, and that one will become our TV name. So that will be the name of the contact. Let's go down and set the style to bold and the size to 30 there. Right, that should be fine. And then we set the gravity property to center horizontal. Right, now for the next part, we want to add a few buttons here that will use images. So I want you to do the following. You're going to go to your drawable folder, right click on it and say new vector asset. So the vector asset that we're going to search for is under the clip art there, and we're going to search for call. So there's the call. I'm going to use that one. I'm going to name it call as well, and then just say next and finish. Now let's do that again. Go to drawable, go to vector asset, and we're going to search for another image. So the next image we'll use is the mail image. So let's use email there. Call it mail. Say next. Say finish. Let's go there again. New vector asset. Click on clip art and let's type edit. And we'll use that one for edit. And we'll call it edit as well. Say next. Say finish. Now let's do it one last time. New vector asset, click on clip art, and we want delete there. So we use delete, name it delete as well, say next, say finish. Right, so now the next part, we want to quickly go to that pictures. So you'll see there's call, delete, edit, and mail. I'm going to open up delete quickly, and I want to replace this with a red. So you can just use this code hash df2e2e. So that will make this delete icon, will basically make it red. And now for the rest, I want to use the primary color. So I'm going to go into my colors XML, and there's my primary color, this one there. Unfortunately, it's giving us some problem when we want to reference the color primary. So just make sure you copy your primary color there. Then let's go to call first, and we set the fill color there to our primary color. Then let's go to edit, and we do the same. And let's go to mail, and also do exactly the same thing. Right, so now all of our pictures has got colors, and now we can drag them to the screen. So what I want to do here is to have them horizontally as 4 buttons. So let's go to layouts, and we're going to add a linear layout that's horizontal over the screen. So I'm going to drag that just after my last text view. So there's the linear layout. So make sure that the height is set to wrap content. Right, so now inside of this linear layout that's horizontal, we're going to drag in, just see where we've got that, under common, there's the image view. So we're going to drag the image view inside the linear layout that's horizontal, go to project, and we want the call one there first. So I'm going to say call, that's fine, we'll resize them now. Then after that, take in another image view, go to project, and the next one we'll have as the mail. Say OK. Then do the same thing again. Drag in an image view just after that, and we'll set that one to edit. And then we'll do it one last time. Drag in an image view there, set it to project or to the delete one, which is currently red. Okay, so there we have the linear layout that's horizontal. Let's just move it down a bit. So the top margin will be, let's make it 20. That would be fine. Now for every one of these components, we're going to set them to a height of 50 dp. Also this one, the height should be 50 dp. Also that one, the height should be 50 dp. And for this one, the height should be 50 dp. Okay, so now our screen looks like this. So we're going to get to this screen. We will see, let's say it's John Rambo. So the text view there will contain John Rambo and the J there. And then if you click on call, we can call him, we can email him, we can edit, or we can delete. Right, so now you can see that there's a little red arrow there. If you go there and you open it up, you can see it says to use the vector drawable compat, you need to set android.default. So I want you to copy this part. So just check out the part that I'm taking there. So copy that part, android.default config.vectordrawable.usupport library equals true. Take that part, and then I want you to go to Gradle scripts, into the build.gradle file, and you're going to paste it here. And then you're going to say sync now. All right, so now we can close it down, and if you go back to contact info, you can see that red error is gone. We don't really worry about the orange errors. They are not errors that will give us problems when you run the app. Okay, so it's basically more suggestions. Okay, so now we've got our layout to look like this. This one is TV char, that one is TV name. For this one, we can call it Ivy call, Ivy image view, Ivy call. That one we can call Ivy mail. Come on, Ivy mail. This one we can call Ivy edit. And this one we can call Ivy delete. Right, so there's the buttons. Now they will act as buttons. So for them to act as buttons, you need to click on them and set the clickable property to true. Also that one, clickable, true. That one, clickable, true. And that one, clickable, true. And now we'll be able to use them as buttons. So the last part for this layout is when the user clicks on edit, we want to open up a section at the bottom. So let's see if we can do that part quickly. So we're going to go to text, and we're going to have the contact's name again. So plain text, just try dragging it there at the bottom. Oh, not there, delete it if it's there. Let's open up this component tree. It's a lot easier to drag it in there. So after this linear layout, so close that linear layout that's horizontal, that's got the 4 images. So just close it, take your plain text and drag it. So you can see if you hover it over that login form and move it to the side, you can see the dotted line there will place it directly after this one, which is where we want it. Okay, so it's going to be the name, email address. So let's drag an email address after that one. And we're going to ask also for the telephone number, or show him the telephone number to edit. So there's the 3 edit texts. I'm going to click on all 3 of them and set the left margin to 20, the right margin to 20, and maybe the top margin to 10. Okay, so now we have these 3 components there. Let's click on the first one, remove the text, and let's go down to the hint property. So the hint for the first one will be, please enter contact name. For this one, it will be, please enter email address. And for this one, it will be, please enter telephone number. Right, so now for those 3, let's set the gravity property to center horizontal, and you can see it's nicely centered. Now let's move this one from the top a bit. So let's set the top margin as 20, maybe even more. Let's make it 30. Okay, so remember that this part will open up when we click on edit, and then we fill in all the details there automatically. But if the user deletes everything on one of these, he will still get the hint there. Okay, so now the last thing we need is a button there. So I'm going to drag in a button as the very last component there. Maybe there. Okay, so make sure it's after your last edit text. If you close down some of these, it will be better. So you'll see it's edit text, edit text, edit text, then button. Okay, so in that button, we can set the background for the button to be that buttons again. Add drawable buttons. And then we can set the text to be bold. And we can set the text color to be #1234566Fs. Right. And then let's just move it down a bit. So the top margin will be, let's say, maybe 15 there, just to move it down a bit. Okay, so for this margin, let's set the left margin also to be 20 and the right margin also 20. Now the text on the button, we'll make submit. And now we need to just link up these components as well. So this first component, let's call it ET name again. That one, ET mail. And this one, ET telephone. And that one will be BTN submit. Right, so now we have a lot of stuff that we did for this layout. So let's just link up these components now. So we've got on the left hand side in the component tree, it's now a bit easier to see it there than anywhere else. So you can open up the component tree a bit more. So you can see we've got TV char, TV name. In this linear layout, we've got IV call, IV mail, IV edit, IV delete, ET name, ET mail, ET tel, BTN submit. So there's a lot of components that we need to set up. So I'm going to start with the top 2, TV char and TV name. So in the contact info, edit text. Sorry, they were text views. So I'm going to say text view. Now the first 2, TV char, TV name. Now let's look at the next 2. We've got IV call, IV mail, IV edit, and IV delete. So those are all image views. So we're going to say image view, IV call, IV mail, IV edit, and IV delete. Right, the next few will be ET name, ET mail, and ET tel. So they are all edit texts. So we're going to say edit text, ET name, ET mail, and ET tel. Right, then the last one is the BTN submit. So that's the button. So we'll say button, BTN submit. Right, so let's link them up quickly. Let's start with the TV char equals find the view by its ID r.id.tvchar. We'll also have TV name, should be find view by its ID, r.id.tvName. Then for all the image views, ivcall equals find the view by its ID, r.id.ivcall. And for the image views, I'm going to copy this now. We'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one will become ivmail, and I'm going to change it there to ivmail as well. There it will become ivEdit, and it must be ivEdit there as well. And here it will become ivDelete, and also there ivDelete. Right, so that's all the image views. Then the edit text, etName equals find the view by its ID, r.id.etName. And then the last one there is et, or there's 3 of them, etmail equals also find the view by its ID, r.id.etmail. And then et telephone number equals find the view by its ID, r.id.ettel. Right, so we've got those 2, we've got these 4, we've got those 3, we only need the button submit. So we're going to say btn submit. By the way, this is a live template that allows me to type it a bit faster. So you can set up or learn about live templates. So that's btn submit, find view by ID, btn submit. Okay, so now which one of these do we want to actually use as buttons? So we'll use all the image views as buttons. So all of them must be clickable. And then we also use the button as a button, obviously. So let's set up them quickly. Let's start with ivcall dot set on click listener, new on click listener. So it will function as a button. Then we will say ivmail dot set on click listener, new on click listener. We'll do the same for ivEdit dot set on click listener, new on click listener, and then we'll have ivDelete. So we'll have ivDelete dot set on click listener, new on click listener. So we've got all of the image views set up, and now we only need the button. So for the button, btn submit dot set on click listener, new on click listener. So now we've got on click listeners for all of them. Just remember that we have in this layout, we've got that login progress and TV load. So if you want to go to that Word document to copy it, or you can take any one of the other, let's say contact list, for example, to just quickly get that coding. So we're going to set up this part. So copy that from contact list, go to info, and we need that as well. Then also this part there with M login form view, copy that. And we'll also need it somewhere here, just underneath or inside of your onCreate. And then the last part you need is this method. So copy the method and use it at the end in your activity. Okay, so now we're done setting up all of the components here inside of your contact info. And I think this is where we'll stop the video, and we'll carry on designing the rest, or basically handling the rest, in the next video.